Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Traditions. I've been trying to get this video uploaded to YouTube, and I think I know what the problem is. So I'm really just kind of redoing the whole video, and hopefully this works. This is the first one we're going to put out, and this is my buddy Ken and I. We're out hunting. Ken was on video, and I was a hunter. So let's just get right into it. Please keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all times. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy.
Every hunter out there wants deer coming into their stand, right? Why do we use full force hunting products? That's why.
So it's at this point we are now walking downward into purgatory. It's we walk a few hundred yards down and towards the river bottom. This spot is set up on top of the river bottom. It's not a spot where you go in and you shoot a doe or a small buck. It's gonna kill you dragging this thing out, and especially if it goes south into the river bottom, because that is actually even further down yet. So yeah, it's a tough spot. It's not a spot you go in and shoot a doe or a small buck in. It's just one of those spots.
So we got a little bit of walk through this thicket, but on the other side of this thicket is a river bottom, and we're right on the top edge. This thicket goes for a long ways back west to east, and we're set up just on the other side of it, and then there's a drop off to the river bottom, and these deer like to cruise between the two. You got a lot of cedars in the river bottom, then you got these thickets up here, so they're going to cruise east and west on this ridge here. So we got a little bit more walking to do. Sitting for about an hour. I haven't seen anything yet. It's still kind of early. I'm almost positive we're going to see some deer tonight. Keep your fingers crossed.
Hey, it's Mark here from Buckeye Outdoors. If there's one thing that we like to use in our woods, it's full force hunting products when the shot counts.
All right, so that night in Purgatory was sort of a bust. We didn't see a single thing. All the sign was there. We were starting to get scrapes in there, some rubs. Sitting on that edge between a thicket and the river bottom is a dynamite spot. They're using that top ridge going east to west, going from point A to point B, and all the sign was there. I know at that time I was losing a lot of does. There was not a lot of does in that area. I mean, there was, but they stopped coming through there, which kind of tells me one thing: somebody probably was baiting nearby, and it was the deer were coming in or coming and going in a different direction. But that night was a bust. It happens, it happens. But we decided to regroup and go out the next day to a different spot. So that next morning, Ken and I went out and checked a bunch of cameras, and we were I think we were kind of in that third week lull, where things just kind of slow down, the calm before the storm, so to speak. We went through there and checked that camera probably around 10:30 or so, and maybe a half hour before that, this buck had been in there. He had come through, and I'm thinking, it's 10 o'clock, 10:30. He's close by. He's bedded up somewhere, and we probably blew him out of there. But Ken just kept saying, "Dude, that's the best thing we got right now. Let's go sit there." I'm kind of thinking, it's not a buck that I'd want to harvest right away. It's something that at the end of the season he's good enough. He's maybe 120ish. He wasn't nothing spectacular, but Ken convinced me to go back, and I really didn't think this buck was going to show back up. Really. So this buck walks in. Now, I'm not. You can do anything with what you want with the video and stuff like that. Ken had said maybe 25-30 minutes prior to the buck walking in, he had said, I see some movement over right out in front of us. I'm not a big fan of just kind of grabbing the rattle bag and grunting. I'm more of a sight on. If I see the buck, and I want to get his attention, you'll notice that I'll carry 2 to 3 grunts with me, one soft, one medium, one loud, and I'll continue to go and use them until I get one loud enough that grabs his attention. So I grunted a bit. I wasn't seeing it. Ken was saying, like, yeah, there's something over there. So I grabbed the rattle bag and I rattled. But it really wasn't until maybe 25 minutes later this buck started walking towards us. So obviously he did hear it. When your buck to doe ratio is, 10 to 1, whatever it is now, you got 10 does to 1 buck. Just pulling out your grunts and your rattle bag. It's really you're really screwing up your spot more than anything. But I do carry them, and just for that purpose right there. I really highly doubt that buck was going to come our way unless I did that. But just kind of blind calling, as you would say. It does you more harm than good. But he comes in and he stands there forever. I'll bet you he stood there probably 15-20 minutes and he just stood out there. But nobody wants to see a deer standing there for 15-20 minutes, so I edited a lot of that out, and here's how it played out. So I'm pretty much contemplating on whether to harvest this buck or not. Those bucks are on here that size 120, and they're really a dime a dozen. You can see them every time out. I was in there about a week before that, and I shot a doe, and it wasn't a good shot. It was just kind of high and back, but she only ran like 50, 60 yards and dropped. So I didn't want to burn up the spot, but I got a freezer to fill, and that's what we're doing. Last Sunday when I was out here and I shot that doe, I hit her a little far back. It just happened again. Luckily, he's down where we can see him. It's a gut shot. So there's obviously something wrong with my bow. It was only a 20-yard shot. He's a decent 8-point, but unfortunately it was pretty far back. So we're gonna kind of just sit tight for a little bit and we'll go from there. So I had shown this video to quite a few people, and their first question is, why you look so depressed? why aren't you excited? And it takes a lot for me to get excited. I think a lot can go wrong from the time you hit your release and the time you find that deer. So the calmer you stay, the better off you are. It wasn't a gut shot deer. It was actually just hind back, same exact spot where I hit the doe. It must have hit an artery because both deer dropped dead within 5 yards of each other. Same frickin' spot. I'll take that any day.